Welcome to another episode of Value Seller Talks with Deepak Bajaj. Today, we have the honor of hosting Nkosinathi, a distinguished technology leader based out of beautiful South Africa. With close to 25 years in the technology industry, Nkosinathi witnessed the entire life cycle of technology evolution. Other than that, he is working rigorously in uplifting local community and part of various initiatives across Africa. He is a very great speaker at various tech leading events as well as the center of global attractions. So, welcome, Nkosinathi.
Thanks a lot, Deepak. It's good to be with you once again. Been a while, eh?
Yeah, yeah, it's a great. Thank you for your presence here. I know you are very, very busy, but thanks for taking a time for us. Thank you.
You're welcome, man. Anytime for you.
Thank you. So, Nkosinathi, you have an impressive contribution, achievement, and the list may go long, very long. But we all like to know you as a person first.
Thanks a lot. We are not defined by our careers. I think when everything is said and done, everybody needs to come back to family. So I'm family grounded as a family man. I owe all the things that I've achieved in this life thus far to the support system that I have. I come from a very humble background in a small town of Piet Retief, which is now called Mkondo. So yeah, and with me, is my family. My wife and the two kids. And those are the people that really feel, the pain of whether I'm working hard or not, and whether there's just too much on my plate. But that being said, family is very important to me, and I'm a firm believer, and spiritually, I know I want my spirit to be in good peace, and that actually then drives me. So when there's peace in my family and within my spiritual subscription, that actually drives me. So I like sports. Besides just being an engineer, I'm a sports fanatic. I play tennis very competitively. Also at the same time, I did participate quite a lot in public speaking when I was growing up, and then at school I've held various positions, leadership positions, which of course I think as we'll go deeper into the interview, that basically what I would say contributed in grooming me to be the leader that I am today. So I've participated in community programs and projects throughout my career. Even as I was growing up, I'll be involved in one initiative or the other, be it a cleaning up campaign, be it, initiative that seek to improve, young people, offer help and support from an education point of view, or supporting in terms of homeworks, assignments, all of those things, But most of it all, Deepak, I don't know if you've known this. It's also, I think, first for you to know, I'm a professional photographer. I like photography. I do photography and video, and have my own studio. Where I'm coming from now is actually in my own studio. So I produce, I write my own content, and when I find spare time, of course. So yeah, that is me really as a person, and I'm a God fearing child, and that I think is where the base and the foundation of my character and the person that I am and the person that I continue to build is founded.
Wow. This photography is new for me as well. So
I'll share something for you.
yes, and you rightly makes the creativity what you're doing in the technology space as well as bringing the open world through your photography lens. So it's a great combination. So thank you, and that's the reason I understand why you are so creative.
Yeah. Thanks for the compliment. You're too kind, man.
Great. Now, if I take you 25 years back when you started your technology career, so I'm very curious that how your journey or how you step into this technology world.
It's a very interesting one. I think for me, I had so many opportunities. Graduating from secondary school and Lela in Peter Tip, as I said, that's where I come from originally. I've always had passion for science, technology. I was grateful to the Almighty that science and mathematics subjects were not really a problem for me. So it kind of gave me a number of opportunities. I could have been any other thing, but of course, opportunities that were available to me at the time. One of them, I was very much sure. I just got gravitated towards the space of engineering. I did electrical engineering. After getting that done, obviously I added a number of other qualifications with it just to ensure that, as you are aware, this industry is a very fast-changing industry. So I needed to build, my profile nicely in terms of that. So I started, working with, radio, receivers, breaking things, looking inside. I mean, if I were to take, at the time we didn't have cell phones and all those other technologies, but we had, FM stereos and all of those things. I'd actually break those things. If you can go and sit with my mother, she will tell you how many times, I've been in trouble for breaking either a watch or, an FM stereo, and because of the curiosity that I had. So that basically, I think kind of prepared me for this. And when we went out of school with a number of our friends, we went different paths. I, I was convinced that this is the path at the time that I wanted to take, and it's been quite a journey, and I went to university. I did obviously engineering studies, which then obviously got me into where I am academically. But then I started my work in R&D. It was very fascinating at the time because to work, R&D has a special thing about you being creative, and then it challenges your thinking. It challenges, you kind of have to bring things that are not there. In a way, you need to actually use your creative mind, and at the same time, you need to be able to see it before others can see it. And you can see the linkage between being a producer of television content and now being at a research and development technician at the time. I grew into that. It exposed me to leadership. It exposed me to the discipline of honoring the customer expectations. Now let me break it down in this way. When you are at R&D, almost all the time, maybe the customer has a concept, but the customer doesn't have the product, and the customer doesn't have the technology. The customer comes to you with a need, which you could refer to as a pain that they want to deal with. It is then upon you, one of the things that it teaches is the listening skill, because you need to get into the understanding of the customer, which then will help you to go and open the correct toolbox. So that's what R&D taught me: time management, attention to detail, when you're listening to the customer, and have those cadence, catch-up sessions, feedback sessions. You can almost tell now that this later in life, it will be important for you as you formulate and get into the world of strategy and innovation. But critical thinking, design, R&D, you start from nothing. You just have a word from a customer, and that is what. So you learn, to deeply listen. You learn to apply yourself holistically, and you learn to get criticism, because with those feedbacks, the customer will say, "No, this is not what I said. This is what I know what I said," and you'll be like, "Okay, but my notes suggest this." Then there could be one or two things in there. You may not have taken the notes correctly, or the customer maybe don't know what they want to get from you, and it's upon you now to actually to be able to persuade. Then you learn the skill of negotiation, and you learn the skill of getting the customer into really the position that they want to be. And at times, you may find that even the customer, what they originally wanted is actually not what they really need. And that also depends on you. So I learned all of those, traits, the discipline, the respect for the customer, and also the ability to work and persuade to an extent that at the end of the day, you reach the objective that which the customer in the main and yourself as the subject matter expert get into the position that will move things forward.
So you highlighted a lot of points here. First, the listening. This is very crucial because you are going somewhere and you are not listening to them, not actively listening and participating with them, you will never reach to the point which is a pain area for that customer. So thanks for bringing that up. And the second, which is very important, which I learned from you, is that the criticism. So the power and the courage to stand and withstand this criticism is very important. So thanks for bringing this because our audience, most of them are coming from the from a entrepreneurship background, and it's a keyword for them as well. And definitely your ability to see which the others haven't seen so far, that where the your skills and the art of connecting the dots together. So
Thank
great,
you.
great message. Thank you, thank you, Kosinathi. So now 25 years is a long time, right? So what are the key experiences or role which has been most influential in shaping your career from a person who started breaking the stereos to the technology leader?
Yeah, I mean, 25 years is a long time. So you start in R&D, you find yourself in, trying to build a career. You want to be this great engineer. And then along the path, I was privileged to have been involved in a number of, groundbreaking projects, which actually challenged me. I was in the repair. Then I moved from the repair, and then I got into being part of a training facility. And of course, that also gives you, another insight, and then as the time rolls, then I found myself now having to lead a team, and then that gives you another aspect. There's a human resource element. You need to build and strengthen, your human resource, your emotional intelligence, and above it all, then when I ventured into the telco space, I realized that there's quite a lot. I started when, the technology itself was still very much starting up in the country. And, I think we're, the second or third, you know, cohort of people that were really involved in, the telco space at the time and building the network. So you climbed the towers, connect the microwave links, plan the network, do the access transmission. So I would say one has been involved as, what they would call a wall to wall, type of a person to an extent that I'll research, I'll design, I'll program, then I'll get into actually the entire project. And in this case, I've been involved with building up being involved in building up quite a lot of the key, players in this country. I've actually, one way or the other, touched their networks. I won't be mentioning them by name, but that helped me to to grow in the field. And then later in life, I realized that just being focusing on the technology only can also be a disadvantage. Then I pursued my studies that were mostly related in the engineering management side, then bringing the finance side. And this will become key, as I advance in my career because, when you get into a certain level, then you need to understand business now. And then when you understand business and the management of business, it requires you to be able to understand the numbers, to be able to work within certain programs, understand your OPEX, your CAPEX, understand, different investment models. And that then helped me to be involved in very interesting projects in my life. I was at some point co-opted to participate in one of government programs which were looking at developing the smart city. It was a presidential program that was announced. They were part of the guys that were helping to shape, the plan in as far as communications, connectivity is concerned in that space. I've been involved in global programs, including subsea, landing measure, high capacity, sophisticated, global connectivity networks, And that has always been something that I look back and say I'm grateful for the opportunities that have been provided. So now changing of technologies, 3G, 4G, all of those have been in that space and in different levels. And part of the achievements is being able to work with international counterparts, being involved in standards organizations, because that becomes critical to ensure ours, particularly in Africa, is a little bit of a challenging environment because in the value chain, we're very far from the technologies themselves. We kind of get finished products, and some of these, may, in some instances, influence even how we relate with these technologies. So to be in these committees, the TM forums, your TIP, because we define standards in that space. And I, as a professional as well, I affiliate with the Engineering Council of South Africa, the IEEE, and all of these help us to be able to be in the thick of things when it comes to standardization, framing, and being able to influence standards that will work better within our environment. We've got different climates, there's different environments within which this technology. So if we just base it or reference it, without getting the actual input from the environments which this needs to be involved or to be applied in, that can cause quite a lot of trouble. So yeah, that has been the carrier really, without getting into details on the names of the organizations, but it's been quite a good journey. It exposed me. I sit with global, colleagues in the engineering space, in the strategy, in the innovation space. We discuss and we formulate, programs. Recently, I've participated and provided inputs into, the evolution of the SRV6, particularly on the subject of header compression, mechanism, which mostly, impacts, the wireless access transmission environment. And and this becomes key for us in Africa because most of our infrastructure, it's predominantly wireless microwave technologies. So yeah, this is the list is endless. I mean, we've had opportunities to participate in world conferences, as you are aware. In some cases, we've met in some of those, areas. So yes, my career has opened quite a number of doors thus far, and the sky is the limit. We're still building the park.
As you rightly mentioned, SRV6, subsea cables, these all are the backbones and the ways where you can, transport your packets or the data in a faster, effective speed. And this is what I totally agree with you. If the baseline is not complete, if the connectivity is not complete, or if the media is not, packet free, or what you say, the error free media is there, you cannot grow. And I truly respect the initiative which you have taken as a leader and as a person who empathy with the situation going in Africa. And you rightly mentioned that every country, every region has a different requirement. So how the
Absolutely.
using the technology for that particular solving of that particular need or the use case is something which is keeping you busy.
Absolutely, because we need to get the right use case for the right market. Of course, we can't apply the one shoe fits all, methodology in these cases. So it becomes critical for us to really get our hands dirty, participate and then help to bring these technologies. But key to it is how do we transform it to an extent that, even the leg between the introduction of the technology and the adoption of the technology, because we know that technology is one of the most important tools that we have, or systems that we have today, to actually help to develop, to help to solve some of the ills that are prevalent in our environments, particularly in Africa, poverty is one of those, lack of access to, information, the digital divide. So we try, to bridge that, to make health services accessible through technology, to make, kids to access technology and knowledge and education through technology. And as we get into, the world of AI, things become even, complex, exciting at the same time, but cautiously, how will Africa actually, get into the bandwagon early as well? We are fortunate to have organizations that have really, really, really put their skin on the game to ensure that, Africa's progress and the digitization of Africa takes center stage. And, working with those organizations and others, obviously, I think the future is bright.
No, no, I agree, agree. Every brick which you are laying down will create a legacy for Africa and Africans, definitely. And your efforts along with your team is doing a really, really admirable job, and we can see that. So thank for putting your efforts, your energy, your thought process in building the Africa a place where where everything is getting more digitized, and every African should get a prosperous living with your efforts.
Thank you.
So, as a technology leader, how do you foster innovation and stay ahead in such a rapidly evolving industry?
It's a tricky question, but when they say the game is fixed, you recall I started my career in R&D. Now, R&D means you're always 10 steps ahead. Now, where I am positioned currently, I'm within, in the main, a strategy, driving environment, frameworks, defining the future. Look at the broader, trends that are happening within the environment across the globe, and because of that, then we say, let us work much faster and more, ahead to look what are the trends in the industry, what are the trends in the world, and then adopt some of these things and then bring those things within the areas that we function in to ensure that we are prepared for the change. There's different waves, as you are aware. There's always the way. Now, one of the things that you may want to find yourself in is to catch the wave at the right time. Just as you find a wave in the ocean, if you catch it right, it carries you. But if you miss the right timing for it, of course it can be detrimental in some cases. So it is our job, and it is our assignments to be able to always work ahead. Hence we do the conferences, we work within the standards bodies, we participate in the changes that are required, the foundational you know frameworks of ensuring that where does the world go in as far as technology is concerned? Where does this go? And then we look into where will it hit our market, and then we start then to prepare the infrastructure, prepare the environment, look into the evolution that needs to be affected within the systems and the resources that will obviously help that, and work obviously within the framework and the structures of the relevant regulatory and relevant authorities to be able to ensure that as things come in, we are ready to be able to adopt. Yes, sometimes it may not work 100%, as you are aware that sometimes even with switching off of certain technologies, like the 3G, it has taken quite a lot of time in some parts of the world, and even the adoption of SRv6 itself, the adoption of 5G, you can see that yes, it has been adopted, but there's this question around, the profitability of the technology, the use cases for the technology. How do we expand, to get the right use cases and the right fit products to be able to put into that space? So all of those then fall within, our foot in terms of uh, get getting on time, have the right research, apply your critical thinking, and then make the strategy to be as flexible as possible, but of course have the base and the targets within which you want to land. and that's what keeps us being able to be above the rest in terms of getting on time.
You rightly mentioned about this adoption as well as the profitability. So
Yeah,
that's the biggest question which most of the operators as well as the technology players are facing right now. But I think this is the whole ecosystem which has to be worked together, and
yeah,
definitely the use cases, it all depends now how you are using it and which problem you are solving. So yeah, thanks for
absolutely.
that. I know it's a lengthy topic. This itself requires a separate session on how profitable. Yes, I totally understand how you guys are working on making it at least affordable as well as adoptable. So, and once it's become part of your bloodline, definitely the things will definitely move forward. Now I focus on the future of the telecommunications. So, how do you envision emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, machine learning evolving within the technology industry, and what potential impact could they have?
You know, one of the key things is to be able to measure and to be able to know the heartbeat of your systems, the heartbeat of your resources. Because if you get into that space, then you can make a decision. And this is where automation comes into play. I'm passionate about automation. It's one of those topics that me and you at some point spent lengthy times, discussing. It's one of those things that you need to really immerse yourself in because it brings in efficiency. When you automate, when you apply software, in the processes, it actually helps to rid of a number of things, number of tapes that may actually impact the performance of the system in any shape and in any form. This can be applied in a health system. This can be applied in a transportation system. This can be applied in mining industries and all those things. Because if you get the processes right, you get the right use cases, and then you apply software in it, you softerize the processes, that actually buys you quite a lot of time. Now this is where AI comes in. AI, there's a lot of fear around AI, but what AI is not, it will never substitute a human being because it is humans that make the decisions. It is humans that will have to define the technology lens. Of course, today we've got quite a lot of intelligence built into augmented reality and all, the type of capabilities like, big machine learning, big data processing, and predictive and decision making that is built into the system. But all of these are built on the basis of what do the humans want to achieve. Then the systems, the machines learn those things, and then in a way, AI complements um, the human beings. And it just makes sure that the speed is a little bit faster. Yes, humans will get into all of these things, but it will take decades. Just look at the evolution that has happened in just the last decade. How fast have we leapfrogged from where we were to where we are today? Even as we are conversing in this way, probably we could be meeting in a hotel now, having spent so much time, sleepless nights, hours on the plane, and all of those things. Those are still relevant because you cannot substitute the human touch. But in between, we need to embrace, automation. We need to embrace artificial intelligence to complement and bring in more efficiency in the delivery of the services, delivery of the products, and also resolving and solving some of the ills that people are, experiencing in the world. So that is where I see it. The more we adopt, the better. But now, again, the question that we are talking about, the value chain. Africa again needs to then relook into ways and means of insourcing some of these skills, insourcing some of these technologies, empowering. And that also looks squarely into even, I'll even go to the education system. how do we enhance things, how do we fortify certain modalities that are within the education system so that we can foster and build in homegrown solutions, homegrown technologies, and participate actively in software development and just technology as a whole.
No, very well said. Because now, as you rightly mentioned, the creativity is the that landscape which no AI can replace. So that's where the human ability comes into. Definitely, how to use AI in the benefit of the humankind by the humans. That's where the game is all about. So thanks for bringing it up. Definitely, you guys are working a lot of things on the AI part, and I'm pretty much sure in the coming days or coming weeks we will get really good and more better things, which is relevant for the Africa. So I would like to understand and take your advice on the topic that AI is a new buzzword for everyone knows about AI, but how to execute is a real challenge. So what is your suggestion that how the organization should get prepared for that unseen AI animal?
We've spoke about the ways, that you need to understand the technology cycles and be able to catch it at the right way. Sometimes it's not a problem to be a follower, because out of it, other people can make the mistakes that, cost quite a lot of resources, you know. But there are times where when you look into, because there's certain verticals that AI bring. I think at some point when we have more time, we'll break these things down in terms of, the relationship between AI and what actually comes out of AI, the relationship between 5G and what comes out of 5G, the relationship of softwareization and software defined networking and automated or networks that can make decisions by themselves. And what are these decisions? Because if we understand all of these things, then we need to look back and say, in the line that I've borrowed of, what you cannot measure, you can't actually make a decision around it. Now, once you've measured, then you need to take stock of what you have a proper strategy of how do you adopt AI, part of which may include and not limited to retraining, your staff, reorganizing your processes, reorganizing your resources, technological resources, and otherwise. You may have the ambition, but you find that your resources are not receptive to that change. So the deep dive and the due diligence exercise must be done holistically, as a frame, as a beginning, as a foundation of you getting to. But at the most, you need to be able to understand exactly where do you want to position your organization, in the space of AI. You can't automate everything. You can't automate everything. There's things that cannot be subjected to that. You must understand those. There's things that really require that automation because of the speed and the time that you buy yourself. Time is money, as they say, but the money comes in the efficiency and the effectiveness of the processes and the throughput, as it were, because you may have resources, but how quick, efficient do you convert them? But within that, the quality matters as well. Understanding your clientele, that's where then AI come into to understand, to give you, the data points and the data that can actually give you understanding, true understanding of what is happening in your environment. So once you understand all of those, and you can't just buy it as a product, as you go into off-the-shelf product. There's quite a lot of off-the-shelf product, but certain things need to be customized to your environment and linked to your strategic direction, position, framing, and your ability and the resources that are available. I think, in a nutshell, those are the key things that you need to do. But never downplay the importance of ensuring that your staff are the key players. Them adopting and them being part and parcel, being part of the process becomes very critical because, yes, there is the fear of AI is going to replace people. But if you played wrong in the beginning, of course, and you just say, okay, we're going to buy this. Okay, now let's stop doing this. We're going to put an AI tool there. We're going to put a bot there. We're going to put this to do that. Obviously, that may also have its dire, consequences. You will have disconnected staff. Then you won't have the people that will help you to actually build, the system going forward.
A very important message because people think that they have some AI tool, then they can do anything. But it's the rightly message from your side that you have to understand and then place the bet very carefully and then use the right connections and the right efficiency which the AI brings to give a right picture. So I fully agree with you. Thank you for bringing it up because most of the entrepreneurs or most of the startup and even the businesses who are actually evolving themselves into the AI mode, they are doing a big mistake. And thanks for
Yeah.
highlighting nothing. I
Thank
know that
you.
the time is the limit, but I would like to ask a very important question that you are doing a lot of things for the African community. So can you share us some of the initiative which you have been involved into the uplifting of local African community and the people around you?
For me, education, education, education. Of course, there will be projects, names, and all of those things. But what I really am grateful for is the opportunity throughout my career, really, to be able to participate in either, training and development, coaching, guiding graduates through the graduate program. I mean, I think this the number is just countless of the graduates that we've helped to shape and direct them in the right path, and some of them are advanced in their careers as we speak today. But the opportunities that have been afforded, by the organization that I work for, it exposes me to the global community, and in that way, particularly in Africa, I've had an opportunity of really influencing and playing a very significant role in helping to develop young talents. Ensuring that we transfer the skill at the right time and we sit on the same table and understand, because the generational differences, cultural differences, that's you can't buy, that, to sit and understand people from different walks, and as you are aware, I mean, we work with global partners, the cultural exchange and all of that. We take all of these lessons and some of these help us to shape some of the programs that we are working on within the continent. But key to it is us strengthening and ensuring that there is education in each child, and no child is left behind when it comes to education, because that will empower the future leaders in our society. And I'm grateful for the opportunity to participate in such programs. The technology programs, be it the lending of the subsidy systems and all of these big programs, they are good. But when you look in the eye of a graduate and you see that aha moment and they can see the lights coming on, that, my friend, is just the cherry on top. I really am grateful.
So as a mentor, as a teacher, and as a companion as well, because you need to handhold them every moment, and definitely the results is that brightness and their transition from one layer to the upper layer, which
Yeah.
can be done only with the help of the education. So thanks,
Yeah.
Nati, for that. Maybe a last question from my side, as you are a motivator and inspirational for many young leaders and what advice you would like to give to those young leaders who want to present themselves at the stage?
Yeah, being a young leader, it's got its advantages. So you've got you're coming from a different generation, but any change, any new um, way of doing anything needs to start from the understanding. We need to know where we are. What are you leading? What information do you have? Have you done your due diligence? Because there's a difference between being smart and actually being a leader. Now, new leaders need to go and actually understand the environment, understand the people that they found in the room. You may find that 80% of your work is already done, is in the room. But if you want to come and change and throw everything out, that becomes a challenge. But I think we've got quite a good, crop of leaders that are coming up, and the future is bright. I mean, we're looking at Africa, in the next couple of years, by 2050, by the way, we will have the most population of young people, and we need to invest in these young people, their mindset. The things that we may have done wrong as this generation and the previous generations before us. This is the lessons I'm talking about. That they need to look at this, take stock, and then craft a way that will take the continent, forward in the future, and really take its position as one of the biggest continents in the entire ecosystem, basically.
It's a great message, and I'm pretty much sure that the young professionals who are associated with us, they find a way and they get a direction to move into that space which you rightly mentioned. So, in the interest of time, so I hold my questions at this moment. So, thank you, Kosinathi, for your valuable time, sharing insight as well as experience with us. And definitely, I personally learned a lot about your hobbies and the way you think, uh, especially from a photography lens, and that is one of the fuel for you to remain more and more creative. So, thank you for sharing that. So, your journey and contribution to the technology industry is truly inspiring, and definitely the way you are helping the African community is really a proud moment for you as a person itself. And I can see when you were talking about it, I can see the brightness in your eyes as well. So, any last message which you want to share with the audience?
Really, the future is bright, and let us get ourselves involved in the processes. Let's get involved in from the communities, streets, communities, towns, and everything, and that will actually help us to learn and understand the system and be involved in the decision making, involved in getting the inputs to the right people, be it the leaders at the time. And education is really, really one of the most important tools that we can have in our arsenals to help us to understand, to help us to shape, to help us to engage in any shape and form. We need to find ourselves educated, and let us not leave school too early. Let us understand the system. If we understand the system, we can be able to influence it positively. Thank you for hosting me, Deepak. See you again in the future.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you, Kosinathi, so much for all the the right words, the experience which you personally experienced, and the learning which you have done so far, and bringing a best out of it and using the technology. So, thank you again for your valuable time. So, until next time, this is Deepak Bajaj signing off.